Hello there. Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I set it to today?
Once again, it's time for Throwback Thursday, a second chance to look at some truly awful podcasts. No, wait, a second chance to see how far Vicis Interimo has come over the last 8 years. New episodes will be released pretty much weekly, but Thursdays I've reserved for throwbacks to see how far we've come. A lot of the information on here no longer applies, whether that be businesses or links that may not work anymore, so be advised of that. But again, I want to thank the patrons that we have at this time, though they may not have been here the first time these episodes were recorded. I am thanking them again because they're helping us move forward with our new episodes. And those are patrons such as At Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy what you hear.
I think that's good enough.
Ew, it looked like there was a butt on screen.
What was it? Your face?
Hey, it was my thumb.
Oh, I see a butt on the screen right now. Oh no, that looks like something entirely different.
Welcome to Vicis Interimo, 30 Minutes to Kill. I'm your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, with my lovely wife, Lori. This is episode number 126. Today's movie is The Possession, and it's an on-the-road episode, which means we may go a little bit longer than our 30 minutes, but not too much longer. Shall we get right into it? First of all, we're going to do a Laid to Rest. We're then going to do our review, followed by Garbage In, Garbage Out, and then a Crawling Chaos, which I had intended to do this week. But
why didn't you tell me?
Well, I saw yours, and it's like, wow, I'm so freaked out by what you showed me that mine just gets put off till next week because it's lame.
Okay, well, that'll let me off the hook for next week.
Okay, good.
See, I always feel like my Crawling Chaos segment is lame, and I've gotten like zero feedback, so I don't know if people like it or hate it, so I always feel weird.
Well,
so it's great if you could do one.
Today is completely freaky, and they'll have to look it up on their own, but at any rate.
Well, that's how they're going to have to be from now on, because with our new 30-minute format, my Crawling Chaos will only be a minute or two. It'll just be a really quick mention of something interesting that I learned or saw during the week.
Okay.
And yeah, it'll be super brief.
All right. Well, we're going to move on and do our Laid to Rest, and then our review of The Possession. So you wanted to do the lead-in on Laid to Rest this week.
I did.
Yes. Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say you challenged me or pointed out my poor editing skills.
It was awful. Last week's editing was awful. It was our first attempt of getting back to our 30-minute format, and the editing was awful. I just have to say that.
Okay.
Because we talked about a lot of stuff that got cut out, and then there was other stuff that was like, why is that in there? But my main complaint, and the show notes even announced that we would be discussing The Hunger Games, both the movie and the books, or at least the first book. And all they got in there was a quick little, yeah, I liked the book. And then it's like moving right along. And then we went on to the next thing. Our whole discussion got cut out and eliminated. And so, yes, we did have a listener complaint. Hi, CJ. It was fault.
Who's?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm using your first name.
Anyhow.
For all those listeners out there that had no idea.
That's getting bleeped.
Oh.
So anyhow.
So anyway, yes, I think we're going to discuss that.
Well, I don't know about discussing it much, but I do have my thoughts put down on paper specifically.
Anything I say, you'll just cut it out anyway.
If I'm smart and on top of things, I will.
Hey, Yay!
The movie feels like an abridgment of the book, which is okay because that's what most movies turn out to be. But I do think that the movie The Hunger Games captures the flavor and sometimes the feel of the book.
Sometimes.
But the book itself feels like an abridgment to me also. That's a complaint, but only because I want to know more about the world and how they got where they are. The author does a wonderful job portraying a loner and someone that sees themselves outside from the group. And I can identify with Katniss on a lot of what she's going through. But getting back to the world, it's unfair to compare it to something like Lord of the Rings or Dune, but I felt it could be fleshed out just as much as those works could. And to be honest, I didn't truly appreciate the richness of those worlds until I was older and more mature, as far as that goes. But the fact may be that the author was right on target with this book and targeting for young adults. And you've since pointed out two things to me,
right,
which is, since the book is told from the perspective of Katniss, we're only allowed to know what she knows about the world, and that's, okay, good enough. And since you did then explain to me that we do find out more about the world, and eventually that will be, maybe cleared up for me and stuff. But
a lot more will be revealed.
So having said that, I liked the book, I liked the movie, and I am looking forward to hearing more about it and so on. I did also appreciate your analogy or comparison between such shows as Survivor. And so you think you can dance as far as being a physical competition where people are getting knocked up. Okay, nobody's getting killed.
Right.
But the pageantry and stuff that you get from the book, The Hunger Games, and a little bit's captured in the movie.
Right.
We see that today in our world moving towards that. So it's an allegory too. So we talked about it.
And that was CJ that pointed out that, we do the same thing with Survivor and a lot of these reality TV shows. But now you can see it yourself because you're, of course, reading the first book now and you're a third of the way through or more, almost halfway through, I think.
Well, somebody's reading it.
Well, all right. So I'm reading it to you.
Aren't you and your, well, you know what? Because I can enjoy it more. I don't have to worry about reading the words.
Yeah.
I can just sit there and construct the pictures in my head as to what's going on. And
now I have to say, you do suffer from dyslexia for real. And if anybody reads your posts, they know. Because sadly, your posts do not reflect your intellect.
Sometimes they do. But anyhow, shall we move on?
Sure.
All right, let's, so let's just get on with our On the Road, The Possession.
Okay.
We now should be recording.
We are recording.
All right.
We've also figured out why when we're on the road, the MP3 recorder makes an obnoxious clicking sound.
Well, that's not going to happen anymore, so.
No, it isn't.
All right.
So we're on the road again.
On the road again. And off to see Possession, a 2012 movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we don't have a synopsis.
It's in the theater right now. I don't have a synopsis, sorry. All I know it's what I got from the synopsis I read online was a little girl purchases a box at a yard sale. She's with her parents, it sounded like, and she purchases a box. And there is a spirit in the box.
Trapped inside.
Yeah. Is it trapped? Is it just hanging out in there waiting for somebody to help it? Or
I don't know.
We don't know.
I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Yes.
Usually the standard, the SOP, the standard operating procedure is, somebody's playing with a Ouija board or calling spirits or doing something of that nature. So I'm interested to see this angle or this take on it where, the kid accidentally gets possessed. I don't know what to expect. I'm just making things up already. We're not even in the theater.
I think that's a common theme as well, though. An innocent child coming in contact with something, making friends with it. It's innocent, There's always the movies where the child has an imaginary friend they're playing with, so I think it's a common theme.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see how, since it's in a box, I like that idea because it makes it mobile.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, dang, whenever we're in the house, my child is talking to this thing, or up in her bedroom, she freaks out, or this is an actual box, so it's something you can pack up and take with you.
Well, that makes me...
Not that she's going to do that, I'm just saying.
Right. Well, that makes me think that it was deliberately put there at some point, so I'm curious as to how it winds up in a garage sale. So
yeah. So
what do you know about this? Do you know anything about the...
That's all I know.
That's all you know? You don't know if this is a foreign film or maybe...
I don't know a thing about it.
Okay, well, we'll look into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us for another On the Road segment. We'll record a few more of these.
It's an episode, not a segment.
Oh, no. Are we going to start that again?
Al, help me out here.
Al, help me out.
No.
Anyhow.
I need his help. Not you.
All right. Well.
Anyway, yeah, we're in the car. We're on our way.
And we're off.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, how do you shut this off?
I don't know. Push the button in the middle. Let's see, what does it say?
It says it's recording still.
Push up and see if it stops. Left, right.
Now it's recording again.
No, you don't want to record again.
I can't. Help! No matter what I push, it says it's recording.
No, push.
Okay, this is my first time, everybody.
So, I just wanted to record for a second or two before we go in and just say, Russian roulette movie theater style. How much do you think we're going to pay to get in? We're going to see we're going to see a matinee, but what do you think it's going to be, like $12.50?
Well, oh my gosh, I'm tangled.
You're also shaking that.
I'm holding it. I was tangled in my seatbelt.
Okay.
This was an odd time for you to decide to record.
Okay,
Well, we're getting out of the car, so I will see you around the other side of the car here. It's a lovely day up here in Palos Verdes. We enjoy coming to the movies up here where the people with money go. Our theaters aren't very nice where we live. And so, yeah, we're like the riff-raff crashing the party up here.
So getting back to the question, what do you think we're going to pay to get in?
Probably about $10.
Wow. That's conservative. Okay, we'll see.
It's hard to argue when you won't stop making sense. But my tongue still misbehaves and it keeps digging my own grave with my hands open and my eyes open. I just keep hoping. It's like that.
Okay. So we're on now.
Better talk loud.
Okay. So what do you have to say? You were wrong?
Yes, I was wrong about how much it costs to get in the movies. But I never pay, you always pay.
That's right.
I guess $10, which is really high for a matinee. But how much was it?
$11.50.
$11.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're officially those annoying people that are using electronic devices in the... Oh, that's nice.
Oh, the previews haven't even started yet.
That's true. Okay.
We're sitting here in the theater. Everybody's coming in and getting settled and chit-chatting.
Yep.
I am stuffing my face with popcorn.
Yeah.
Can I say that I love popcorn?
Yeah, I think you just did.
Now I'm officially one of those annoying people who podcast while they're eating.
True enough.
Anyway.
Nice. So you're excited for this to start?
I am. Oh,
Good.
here the screen's coming up and the curtains are adjusting. So.
All right. So
So we'll be back later.
Welcome to
That'd be
Regal
great if that
Entertainment.
turned down. Oh no, it's still recording.
Refreshments are available in the lobby. And please, keep our theater clean by disposing of trash in specified containers. And remember, gift certificates are available for any special occasion. Enjoy the show.
Are we recording?
We are.
All right. So let's talk about the movie we just saw.
Okay.
What, I guess you're going to need to lead me. What's the first thing we want to talk about?
Well, the story was pretty much what we said earlier, except for the family dynamic was that the mother and father were actually divorced. Mm-hmm. They've been separated for a year, so there was the extra element of a new boyfriend that the mom is seeing.
Right.
So it wasn't like happy little family, nuclear unit.
Well, it never is, and I was actually thinking about that as we were watching this, that it fit into our, when we were talking about the hauntings and the things that we watched where there's a potential for supernatural.
We're in the car, by the way.
Again, still.
Okay.
There's always that supernatural element that seems to get into broken families.
Right.
Does that...
Well, I think I've noticed lately there's more and more horror movies using the happy family, the nuclear family. Everybody's together. Mom and dad are not divorced. They've got the kids. Everyone's happy. Life is good. Don't you think there's kind of a trend going towards that?
Maybe so.
Anyway.
But this one...
that aside.
Yeah, this... the story was good. It was solid. I want to say that it was also typical.
Really?
Kind of. I
disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typical how?
I didn't see anything in here that I was surprised at or was totally new. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the story. But it seemed like all the elements were there.
See, I think the elements were there, but I think it was more... for me, it was fresh, and... Because I always love possession stories.
Uh-huh.
I'm always going to like those. Demon possession, exorcisms. That's a great topic.
Yeah.
It's a great... it's a great story.
I agree.
So... I was going to be happy probably regardless, but
right.
I felt like this had some new things to offer.
Okay.
Because they always have to come up with a way for the child, for the person, whoever, to get possessed. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the box.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to research and explore some more when I get home.
Right.
Just because of interest. It's always fascinating to me. And I did like that.
And it was interesting because it had the dad, and it was his weekend. He had the children that weekend. And I loved the location of where he lived. The mother lived in a nice neighborhood, but when they go stay with dad, his house is sort of they're in New York. Mm-hmm. It looked like upstate New York. His house was kind of out where it was more woods and stuff, but looked like a neighborhood that they were building like tract housing and then ran out of money or whatever. So it's his house with all these other houses around it that are only kind of half done.
Right.
So it lended a very creepy feel already, kind of a deserted feel.
Right.
But he takes the two girls, they drive by a yard sale and they holler at him to stop because, Dad, you need dishes. His house is lame.
Do we want to call it a yard sale? Because that was, but going into this...
Well, that's what they call it.
Well, yes, but initially they also called it was an estate sale. And that made more sense. We talked about it because I wanted to know how is a box like this going to wind up just at a yard sale. Like that it seemed weird to me to start with.
Okay. I didn't know how much detail you wanted to go into there.
Okay, well, we're going to be airing this probably a while after it's been out, so I don't think we're going to spoil anything. But just it was an estate sale. Right. It's an estate sale, so that made sense to me. And there were a couple of other things throughout the movie that they addressed.
And of course, for people who don't know, an estate sale Well, usually, not always, but a lot of times somebody passes, so it's usually the entire contents of a house. So
Right.
that's the difference between an estate sale and a yard sale.
Right.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
I just wanted to, if anyone out there, some people who live in, we picked up so many new listeners recently that are international, that are everywhere, and estate
China,
sale might
Japan,
not. Yeah, we have so many new
Argentina.
listeners from all over the world, so estate sale might not.
I got you.
That sounds like the properties for sale, in a state.
Okay.
So, sorry.
So from there, there were other issues that I had with it, but they addressed them during the movie. There was some things when I said it felt typical. What felt typical was there's a movie format to it. So there were certain things like and it's so easy to put yourself in here and Monday night quarterback these, but with this story, like, wouldn't you get the box checked out as soon as you got it or whatever?
Maybe.
Just because there's writing on it and stuff, I'd be curious.
Not necessarily. The little girl, who was wonderful, by the way, what an awesome little actress. She did such a great job.
Yeah.
Man, she was scary. She picks it up at the estate sale and says, "Oh, Dad, can I get this?" Whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, anything you like, sweetheart." But he's kind of busy. He's got his mind on other things. He wasn't like, "Oh, why? What is it? Why do you want it?" And, "Oh, let me have a look at it." He was just like, "Anything you girls want, just pick it up and come on, let's get going."
Yeah, I get.
She takes it home. She's got her own room. So he wasn't overly involved in everything that the kids were doing.
I get that, but I guess what I'm talking about is just in a more general scope. As far as me saying that the movie felt kind of typical to me, it felt like a movie. I'm going to use Insidious
that
as an
makes it sound
example.
lame.
But it wasn't. I mean, I enjoyed it and it was good. But my example
Typical is boring, though.
My example is Insidious. With Insidious, that movie, they addressed the cliches and the things that happen in horror movies and stuff, and they addressed it with that story, and that made it different and interesting and whatever. This one was good. I liked it. It was entertaining and everything, but it didn't have, it felt like a movie to me.
Wow. Well, I liked it way more than you did then. Because something else I liked, at any time, it's like, okay, it's a possession movie. There's going to be exorcisms, whatever. What do you think of? You think of Latin, you think of Catholicism, you think of the church, you think of a priest. There was none of that in here. It was Hebrew, and it was visiting, going to the Jewish part of town and finding a rabbi who could help. I loved that was so different.
I love that too.
Because it was like, okay, any minute now he's going to start looking. But we did notice that the writing on the box was Hebrew right from the beginning.
Exactly, from the beginning.
And that made it very interesting to me. I felt it was really different, and I think it had a lot of fresh things to add. I thought it was great.
I like those things too, and I'm excited about those things in it, and I was happy when I saw that it was in Hebrew. There was no but. It's like, but okay,
it was typical.
Okay, so here's the but. I just said but.
Yeah, you're a but.
The tip, I knew what to expect, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's an exorcism film. It's a possession film. Somebody gets possessed, they start acting crazy, the family goes, what the heck? Okay, they're sick, we'll have them checked out. They're mental, we'll have them checked out. No, that's not it. They're possessed. We'll get some religious help. We'll exorcise this thing. And then it can only end one of two ways. Happy ending, bye-bye bad spirit, or surprise, the spirit is in somebody else.
Right.
What else? So is that what you're talking about?
That's what I mean. That's it. That's what I mean, generally. That was it. And it's not... I really did enjoy the movie.
So it's not necessarily a complaint. It's just you're saying it's a typical possession movie.
I'm saying if you enjoy possession movies, you're not going to be disappointed with this one.
Oh, if you enjoy possession movies, I think this one it's at the top of the heap for me.
Really? Okay.
Because I really enjoy them a lot. Good versus evil, God versus Satan, demons, angels. Those are my favorite stories. This one I felt like was really different. And so, yeah, it was a wonderful surprise for me. It was a surprise, and it felt fresh and different and Dang, it was scary too.
Well, that's the other thing that I was going to talk about now too then, and that is, yes, there are some genuinely creepy moments.
Oh,
they made
my gosh.
Great use of sound,
Yes.
Foley, everything in there, music, no music.
Because you also
visuals.
expect a certain typical, there's a formula for possession movies. The growling, the scary voices, the face changes, it's all the things you expect, but I feel like they definitely took it a step further. And I wondered how much Sam Raimi actually had to do with this. He was a producer.
Right.
But, man, I would have guessed he had his hands in all kinds of things, because I know a lot of people, there's always the argument, Sam Raimi, does he suck or no? I love him. I love his stuff. This looked like something he had his hands in. Like you were saying, the effects and just everything, the feeling of it. I still think it was a great story. There wasn't a dull moment.
Okay. I thought it was interesting too, and I want to do a little bit more research on this again, just for myself when I get home. Jinx in a Box was the article that this was based on. Yeah, well,
we saw that in the credits. It's hard doing this on the road, and we don't have the computer to just pull things up. I'm writing things on a napkin, and okay, watch the credits. We need to write this stuff down.
Well, and so here's the thing. I want to look that up, but we also know when we see things that say inspired by a true story, we know how far they can stretch those things. My best example would be, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, inspired by true events, but they were, who was it? Was Albert Fish or Ed Gein? You know what I mean? It was a completely different story.
Totally different story.
And all they took really was the fact that somebody was cutting up people and wearing their faces and stuff.
Yeah, that's the only similarity.
Right. So, people see based on a true story when they see a movie, and some people believe that, oh wow, this is exactly what happened.
This box, like you said, we're kind of inspired to do some research now. It was called a Dybbuk box, and a Dybbuk is how did they put it? It's like an unattached spirit that wants really badly to attach to a human host.
Yes.
I'm saying human. It wants life. It wants a body and life. I'm assuming a human is its preferred.
Right.
But, so, yeah, I'm sure these boxes have existed through time and people believe that's what they were. Inspired by a true story, I guess.
Well, yeah, and so, I'm interested to see how much of that'd be great if we could find that article. And,
we'll look for it.
We'll look for it.
Okay, what did you think about, we had Kira Sedgwick as the mother.
Mm-hmm. She was good, as always.
Yeah, she's wonderful, always. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the father.
Absolutely awesome. Great actor.
Yes.
Handsome guy. I'll beat you to the punch there.
You beat me to it. He's so good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great. He was so great. He was pretty much the main, of course, it focused a lot on his daughter, who like I said, she was an awesome little actress, and I didn't catch her name, so I'm sad for that, but she's someone to watch. But he was pretty much the main focus, aside from his daughter. He was the one, because the box was kept at his house, so he was the one witnessing her behavior, we'll say.
Her transformation.
Dang, what'd you think of that eyeball action and stuff? Oh my god, eyeball, teeth, all the things that weird me out and creep me out, they're in here.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he did a super job. I like to see him in this role as a concerned dad.
Yeah.
And it was just superb cast for sure.
And now, I hate myself for saying this. I'm starting to think that PG-13 horror movies are quickly becoming a favorite of mine.
Well, now see, that's what I was going to say too when I was talking about it being typical. I was going to say I want to see the extras. I want to see the stuff that they cut out on this one. Because I have a feeling there's a lot. Yep. I don't necessarily want to see the gore.
Right.
But it's...
This proves that you don't need blood and guts, you don't need a ton of nudity, and you don't need a ton of cussing. There's of course, there's always a time and place for that. But for these really scary, disturbing stories, you don't need that. And I think because it's not like, okay, well, we want an R rating, so we're going to focus on the R elements. It's like, okay, that's off the table. So what else can we do? I think it makes them focus more on being creepy and spooky and whatever. And this movie, for me, was walking a fine line. Because when this thing lashes out at people, it's violent.
It's very violent.
It's super physically violent, and that's really intense for some kids. You know, PG-13, they say, okay, if your kid's over 13, they can handle it, but I know some 13-year-olds that would not be able to handle this movie. You know, and of course, a lot of PG-13, everybody takes their little kids too.
Right.
I mean, how many rated R movies do we go to where there's, 5-year-olds?
Yeah. Well,
but like I said, it was walking a fine line for me because, man, it was disturbing. It had some really violent scenes, and it was disturbing. Those effects and things.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Like,
but
for intensity, rated R.
It was intensity, yes.
Yeah, for intensity.
Because it was, having said all this, I would say it was fairly bloodless. I mean, not bloodless, but there was a little bit of blood here and there, but not
little
gory.
drips.
Again, yeah, but not. But the intensity that
like
the music, what was going on screen, definitely violent, definitely intense.
Yeah.
And so on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. What?
What next?
I don't know. We're still in the car.
Yes, we are. Rating then. What's your rating on this one?
Oh, you know what? I don't have any complaints about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd give it a super high rating.
Okay.
I would, for what it is, for a PG-13 horror possession movie. Yeah. I mean, it's a 9 or a 10 probably.
Wow. We've been watching a lot of good movies. We're going to have to get some bad movies on our list now.
Let's revisit Feast of Flesh.
No, let's not.
Okay.
We'll, yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
A solid 8 and a high recommend.
Oh, super high recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be disappointed unless you're looking for elements that aren't contained in this, like we've talked about, unless
well,
you're
again,
looking for
it's PG-13. A lot of people hear PG-13 and right away aren't really interested. It's kind of in the, The Ring, The Grudge. I'd hate to compare them to that because I enjoyed this way more than either of those. And I like those.
Okay.
And I like those. I'm not saying I didn't like those, because I did. And that's when I was like, hey, PG-13 horrors, these, not so bad. We were so used to rated R slasher,
Right.
knife, stabbing, blood, whatever.
Right.
Once you take that away, and the PG-13 horrors, I'm really enjoying them a lot. And this one I think is my favorite so far.
Okay, that's interesting.
So if you like that sort of thing, I mean, come on. Yeah, you got to see it.
Just as a side note, I'm completely freaked out. I forgot that this was Monday. It's Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but we're going to air this probably 2 or 3 weeks from now, so.
That's okay, but I'm just driving around thinking, wow, where's everybody out on a Sunday?
You should be at work and you're not. This is wonderful.
Yes, it is. So,
and we're almost home.
Back to the movie, though. Anything else that you wanted to wrap up before?
No, what else can I say? I'll just be repeating myself.
Well, we don't want that.
No, I do that too much.
Definitely check this movie out if you haven't already, if it's still in the theaters at the time that we air this. If not, put it on your Netflix or your wish list, whatever you've got, and look forward to seeing it.
Yes.
Do you think this needed to be seen on the big screen, or you think it could be equally enjoyed at home, or would it make it even better watching it in the privacy of your own home?
Well, I can enjoy things at home. Well, okay, it totally depends, because I was going to say I could enjoy things at home just as much as on the big screen because we do it right. Our TV isn't small. It's not huge, but we've got a pretty good sized TV, and we dim the lights, and we make sure it's quiet, and
hopefully
we get
no
involved.
Phone calls.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you do movies right in your home, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
if you're gonna watch it on your computer while you're playing a game, or watch it, while you're texting, or no, go to the theater. Go to the theater then and shut off your stuff.
Well, here's my thing right now.
because
it's probably out of the theaters now anyway.
Possibly.
So why are we having this discussion?
I don't know, because I'm just going to say that
Just making stuff up.
The Lady in Black,
Yes.
I would have liked to have seen that on the big screen.
Okay.
That's a movie that I would have liked to have seen.
Okay, I guess to answer your question, everything is always nice to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there are some movies that it doesn't matter.
Are we talking comedies? Because no, those don't need to be. But
I'm just some of the horror movies I can enjoy them more at home.
Okay.
In the setting of like the Paranormal Activities, like the last one, I can enjoy those more at home than I think I could in the theater.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the theater, we've talked about this a lot. The theater experience a lot of times is less than. People talking and kids screaming and babies crying and people munching on their popcorn. That would be you.
Whatever.
We usually finish our popcorn before the movie starts. We usually just stuff it in there, and I don't want to be bothered with food and opening wrappers and stuff while I'm watching a movie.
Well,
but wait, what was the point? Oh, the
whether
point
you
was,
needed to see this would.
Well, the point was about what I was just saying was, if you have a nice theater to go to. And we started out the show by saying we were headed up to the hills where the rich people go, which that made it sound really bad as far as our theaters around our house.
They are bad stabbings.
Well, don't tell people that.
Okay.
They're definitely overcrowded. People come in from far away to go to our theaters.
And they're not looking to watch the movie.
Yeah, it's overcrowded and it's rowdy and... It's so not fun. Yeah. Okay. People don't respect the films and whatever. So we go up to the hills and watch it up there, and the theaters a lot of times has like maybe a dozen other people in it. Hardly anyone goes up there. So did this movie need to be watched in a theater?
Oh
God, we're back to that.
Yeah, you never answered that question.
It doesn't matter. It's probably already out of the theater.
Okay.
No, I guess it didn't.
Okay, that was it.
I don't know.
Whatever.
We're making this way longer and complicated than it needs to be.
It's time to cut this off. We're home.
Yes, we just pulled up in front of the house.
Okay.
So, yeah, this sends another Vicis Interimo on the road.
For what it's worth, I hope you enjoyed it.
We appreciate feedback. If this is
if this is lame,
if this is the worst thing you've ever heard, please tell us.
Yeah.
And we'll quit going on the road.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of fun, though.
Okay.
All right.
Up on Melancholy Hill there's a plastic tree. Are you here with me? Just looking out on the day of another dream, where you can't get what you want, but you can get me. So let's set out and see. 'Cause you are my medicine when you're close to me.
Okay, for Garbage In, Garbage Out, just a couple of brief things to talk about. What did you think about the reboot of, I guess I'm going to call it a reboot, of Coma?
I'm not sure. I wanted it to be better, I think.
Yeah?
It was just okay. I don't know.
Okay. Were you sorry we watched it, or?
Well, it was on 2 nights. That was 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we DVR'd it and didn't have to sit through the commercials, but...
Right.
I don't know. The way that they handled it, they could have almost squeezed it into 1 night.
Well, I do think so. I think it felt stretched out and kind of amped up and sci-fi'd up for today's audience.
Yeah.
This is the 2012 with Lauren. I'm going to mess up her name, so it's Ambrose.
Okay.
I love her. She's a great actress. We talked about her back most recently when we talked about Torchwood, what we finally got around to watching.
Oh, yeah.
And anyhow, I love seeing her in there. A lot of good actors, James Woods and so on.
Yeah, that was the unfortunate thing, because there was a lot of there was superstars in this thing.
Right.
It wasn't just a lame, made for TV movie or a lame miniseries with unknown actors. Not that has to make it lame, but I'm just saying these big names signed up to do this thing, and I feel like it just fell really flat.
Yeah.
For me. I don't know.
Well, like you said,
Gina Davis. What did you think of Gina Davis?
I love Gina Davis.
Yeah.
And though she played a very creepy person, okay, that's
why she didn't open her mouth when she talked. It was freaking me out.
Richard Dreyfuss was in there, and just a lot of top-notch actors and stuff.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think it was maybe just souped up a little bit more style than substance on this one.
Yes.
Now, I'm not familiar. I've actually read a couple of Robin Cook books. I've actually read them to myself in the past. But
wow.
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, I'm not familiar with Coma, though I know it was a movie when we were young that came out.
Oh, yeah.
70 something or 72 or whatever. Anyhow, let's talk about crawling chaos, rather, and it's just ew.
It's creepy. That's why you said that.
It sure is. It's really disturbing.
You didn't have any other, I guess we didn't watch anything else.
We didn't really watch too much else, so.
Okay, that's it then.
In the interest of time, let's keep going.
Alrighty. Okay, so in the spirit of last week's Crawling Chaos, where I showed an interesting flower, this week I have an interesting... Do I see you laughing over there?
Yeah, because that's just so disgustingly weird. I can't even fathom...
What I'm getting ready to talk about.
What you're getting ready to talk about, yeah.
I was going to say, oh no, last week's flower was adorable. It was the Naked Man orchid.
Right.
This week I have a little critter to share, and it's called the Ravine Trapdoor Spider. Is it horrifying?
It's pretty freaking crazy. It looks like an artifact. It looks like it looks like it's been photoshopped or something together.
Yes. When I first saw the photo of this little guy, I thought, okay, that's an interesting photoshopped image. Somebody put together an artwork with a spider. Its body looked like a doorknob or something with a carving on the end. But that's actually what the spider looks like. And I pulled up YouTube videos and watched this thing in action, crawling around and stuff. And it made my hair stand up on end. And I love spiders. They don't freak me out. I've kept them before. I've had many tarantulas. I'll handle them. This guy really haired me out. And I thought, I have got to talk about this next week. So we have pictures. There's a picture in this week's artwork, and I have a website. We'll put it in the show notes where you can get a close-up view of this guy. Yeah, really, what can you say?
It's just freaky. It just has to be seen.
You have to see it for yourself. Yeah. But it's interesting because that back part of the body that looks like a carving, the trapdoor spider actually uses that as a plug to when it's threatened, it runs and it hides in its hole, and it actually sticks its butt in uses it like as a cork to close the dirt off so that intruders won't come in. Why it's so ornate and looks like that, I have no idea. But yes, everybody, if you can't find our show notes, because I'm never quite sure how to tell people to find them. They're on the Podomatic. They're on
Podomatic. If you go to Podomatic and put Vicis Interimo, VICIS in the search, you can find us there. Or you can find us if you're on Facebook. You can find us on Vicis Interimo page there. And you can always see the graphic that way.
Yes. And if you'd like to look it up yourself, which I highly recommend, it's the Ravine, Ravine, Trapdoor Spider. And yeah, you got to check it out. Seriously. If you like odd little critters, this is right up your alley. Oh. And then I'll just say really quickly that I'm finding these images. I found the last week's Crawling Chaos, our little Naked Man orchid, and I found this guy this week on a Facebook page called The Macabre and the Beautifully Grotesque. And I would recommend going and checking that out. You can like their page, and they'll start showing up in your Facebook feed. And they have all kinds of artwork, photographs, things in nature, things people have created, old stuff, new stuff, and it's exactly what it says, macabre and beautifully grotesque. Maybe you don't want to like it, but you might want to just go check it out.
Okay.
Well, it's not for everyone, but
all right.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. Go see.
On that note, we're going to wrap up this week's episode. And as always, you can get in contact with us by emailing me directly at madsaxon, that's MADSAXXON @yahoo.com, or look us up on Facebook or Podomatic, or just punch Vicis Interimo into the search bar of Yahoo and Google. See what pops up. Thanks for listening, folks.